Hey guys, welcome back to the Alchemy Lab. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Liz. Hello, I am the artist behind all of the dice here at Alchemist's Attic. Today we're going to be making some dice based on a Minecraft YouTube series, which, if that's not your thing, that's fine, but stick around because I'm going to go through my whole design process on how I make a set of dice based on my character. Explain why I do some things the way I do, and just make a set of dice. So today's dice are going to be based on the Empire Sanctuary from Mythical Sausage's Empires SMP series. I drew a lot of inspiration from the fact that it's a nature magic sort of empire. Got some new materials to try out. So yeah, let's make some dice. So to start the set off, I decided to go for some brightly colored moss. He's got a nature magic thing going on with his empire, so I went for a lot of natural materials, but in very bright colors to match the building style of his empire. I went for a mix of light and dark colors to try and kind of show off the fact that he has like a light side and kind of a dark side. Just wanted all of those bright colors in there and a whole bunch of life. I also went and added some sticks in there. I thought it was fitting for the person that supplies all of the wood on the server. He's always very happy to give people his wood. I'm putting all of these into blank molds, so these are molds that don't have any numbers on them. The reason that I'm doing this is that if you have plants right up against the edge of the die and then you go to sand them, it can kind of make things a little bit funky. So I wanted to try and avoid that by putting the plants into blank molds, and then I'll put those blank molds into an actual set of dice. We've got all of our flowers and our moss and everything in there, so we're gonna add some resin. There's a little bit of a pinkish shimmer in there, just to really make these feel magical. While I'm filling these up, you can see there's a lot of air rising to the surface. That's because of all the plants in there. Especially when you're using florals like this, you want to let them sit for a minute, make sure all of that resin is really sinking down in there, because you're probably going to need to add some more to actually fill up the molds all of the way. There's so many places for air bubbles to get trapped with all of the dry flowers. We'll get the lids on these, go pop those into the pressure pot, and then we'll get the blanks unmolded so we can move on to the next step. My blank molds are matte, so you can't really see what's going on in the dice too much, which is kind of unfortunate. But once we get them inside of a clear shell of resin, that will really make them shine. Alright, so I'm molding those. I did the D2. I don't really have a blank for the D2. I didn't have a good way to protect the flowers in that. So the flowers did kind of end up intersecting a little bit with like the top and the bottom. There's just not really there's not really a good way to get around that with how thin my D2 is. I added a little bit of resin to the mold just to hopefully prevent air bubbles getting trapped underneath these as we put them in, and then I dabbed a little bit of black ink in there. My thought is that when I put the blanks in, they're going to displace that resin and the black ink will kind of go up the sides a little bit. It worked okay. It's ended up getting a little bit lost in the final dice. Alright, I'm trying to put kind of what I would consider the bottom of each blank at the bottom of the die. So that's going to be the one with all of the moss, because I feel like the moss is kind of the forest floor sort of thing, and then the flowers are mostly pointing upwards, because I want the highest number to feel like the top of the die. We'll fill up the rest with a little bit more resin. We want to make sure that those molds have plenty of resin in there to fill in any air gaps that might be in there. And we'll get those lids on and put those into the pressure pot. These were super fun to unmold, because I hadn't really seen what they looked like completely because the blanks were matte. So it was very fun to just see how everything turned out. I really liked how the little bit of shimmer ended up looking. It's hard to see on camera, which is unfortunate, but it's really subtle and nice. Yep, so there they are. That's before they've been sanded and polished. So I'm gonna go off and sand and polish these. So that's a bit of a process in and of itself, but I won't make you sit through all that. We'll come back when we get to the inking. I tried a couple of colors before I got to the color that I decided on. I wanted maybe like a terracotta color. There's a lot of those reddish brown tones in the builds in Sanctuary as well. And I tried a copper at first, and I liked the copper. I thought the copper looked really nice, but it also just didn't stand out enough. It was kind of hard to see and to read. So I tried a lighter, more rose gold color, and again, it just didn't stand out for some reason. It looked okay. I liked the copper better in terms of looks, but I don't know why. Everything just kind of blended in. Maybe it's because it's too natural. I know I used a lot of bright colors in there, but maybe it just blended in with a kind of busy natural look. So I decided to go for something a little bit more bold and daring, and I did a really light pink for all of the numbers. I feel like that stood out a lot more. It matched some of the pinks in the flowers in there, but it was still bright and bold enough that it didn't blend in with the dice. I didn't really draw this pink color from anything in the Empire, but I don't know, Sausage seems like the kind of guy that would appreciate a good pink. I wanted to make sure I did all of this in one sitting so that I didn't have to try and remake that pink color again, and I got them all inked in the pink. And here's how they turned out. I absolutely adore these dice. These are probably one of my favorite sets from this whole series that I did. I will put some pictures and videos up on the screen to show them off, because it'll show it off much better. You know, I wasn't kind of sure on the pink when I first did them, but it just really stands out, and I just really like how they turned out. I also enjoyed working with these flowers so much that I went and bought a whole other pack of them off of Amazon. They work so good in resin. They hold their shape, they hold their color. I will leave a link to these down in the description because I've enjoyed working with them so much. I have used them in all sorts of things since I made this set of dice. Thanks for hanging out while I made a set of dice. I do want to go ahead and thank my wonderful patrons who I will put on the screen in front of me right here. I am working towards monetization on my YouTube channel, so if you want to help me out, leave a like or a comment on this video. Help boost it in the algorithm thing. Maybe drop a subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!